Okay, we're still in Wesch Lecture 5, talking about infrastructure part 4 here. I'm going to take you to a video online um, that I guess I could post you a link, but it'd be kind of hard. We're just going to watch for about 10 minutes to look at band society in southern Africa in the 1940s, 1950s, something like that. 1952 to 53. It's not sync sound, so he took the video um, long ago. He took the video before, just taking the images, and then later on dubbed the sound back in. It's narrated by the guy who took it. It's sort of a um, a amateur um, experiment, but it's interesting. It's called The Hunters. Here you go.
And the swiftness of their limbs. Men hunt meat for their families and all the people who live together.
Doesn't look like we can make it big, so this is as much as you get.
Hunting is the work of men, their passion, and the passion of boys.
Jump back a little bit. This is fine.
To be good hunters, boys must begin early in life to learn all the knowledge necessary to chase, shoot, and track the many different creatures of the veldt. Each animal produces its own special feeling in the hunter, and no two situations are ever alike. There is little formal instruction, so a boy must learn for himself, by experience. He may learn as much or as little as his passion dictates. Since for most young men, all things are fair game, the intensity with which a creature is stalked is not proportionate to its size, nor is the discussion following the failure. Competition is rare, practice is frequent, and neutral anthills are good targets, thrusting boldly out of the grass. A boy can see if he Coma the leader, Coma the vigorous and able. He was a man of many words and a lively mind, one who had traveled to the edges of his world. He had a little of the clown in him. On a dry and trying day, he relished a bitter water root. Coma was not descended of headmen. He married into a headmanship that he cannot bequeath, but he was the perfect man for a job which brings no rewards, and often earns only worry. It pleased Coma to be headman. With the new baby, Coma had become a family of 5. When he praised himself, he said "Katlangi," which is to say, I am the sharpest edge of the arrow. Coma wound the last turns on his bow, then he tied it with the special bow knot. He tightened it, until as he plucked it, it hummed. He put the bow in its sack, along with the quiver of 15 poisoned arrows, and took his spear with which he would kill an animal made helpless by the poison. he departed with a younger man named Ao, who also had a family to provide for. They hunted westward that morning. At noontime, Ao saw a tortoise. The tortoise walked out of a clump of bushes into the open. Ao the beautiful. Ao was a natural hunter, taking great pleasure in the chase. His arrows were keen, and each point was shaped in his own fashion, with deep notches behind the ears, for it is the custom of these hunters, each to make their arrows different from any other man's. Ao was something of a dreamer. Often he played with children. He amused the little girls. He would woof at them and scare them, and they would squeal and run before him. On the day that he consummated his marriage, Ao shot 5 wildebeest out of a herd of 30, and found and killed 4 of them, and brought home the meat. From this he got his name, Ao Dai, Ao wildebeest, and since that time he had killed animals that he could not remember, both large and small. But though he had done much in hunting, and was well known, he rarely spoke out among the people, being of the sort who listen all their lives. His first 2 children died, each in their first year. He often played for his 3rd child on a 1-stringed violin. The small tortoise was all I found in the morning. In the afternoon they came to a pan, where water still remained from the rains of the previous season. Here was an ideal place, a place for animals. In the open, animals could look about and be safe while they drank water.
Okay, this is all taking place. Let me get my picture back up here. Hello. This is all taking place in Botswana, which is southern Africa, or South Africa itself. You can see here the Kalahari Desert. Oh my. Kalahari Desert in southern Africa is a very, very dry desert, and one that is really bereft of both surface water and stone. Actually, it's a very sandy, soft place, and so the hardest stuff you get there in the Kalahari is wood, and as you could see, they had some ostrich eggs, and then anything else is manufactured metal, cans and things like that. I wanted to point out that the children um, were not very healthy. They had large bellies on them. You could see the distended belly. That is called kwashiorkor. It's an illness that has to do with a lack of access to enough protein. So the people are getting enough calories, they're getting enough food to eat, but they are not getting enough protein, they're not getting enough meat, and therefore the children have these distended bellies. This goes away with childhood. Once they grow up, they're ordinary people, and it's all they look ordinary again. I'm trying to get a picture of Khoisan activists who aren't dressed up in their native garb. Of course, they dress up in the native garb to present their uh, whatever they're trying to get from the government. But otherwise, when they're ordinary people, they wear ordinary clothes just like anyone else, baseball caps and T-shirts. And so I just wanted to have that in there so that the last image that I show you is not um, of a Khoisan person is not something from an old movie where they're not wearing any clothes, but where it's ordinary people wearing ordinary uniforms and business suits and a fancy dress. Okay.